Welcome to the podcast episode number 5. This podcast episode is a little different today, and it's about the guest posts or people who have sent their stories to me in order to discuss, discover, and find out more about the twin flame connections, what happens, how people meet their twin flames, what do they feel, how do they feel, and if it's really happening. Before we dive into today's episode, I'd like to say again, huge thank you for each one of you who have listened my podcast. Honestly, knowing that you are taking half an hour or 40 minutes of your day to listen what I have to say is amazing. That you have decided to join this journey with me and spend your time with me. So as usual, this episode is going to be around 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So if you are having a good day or not so good day, it's time to maybe just listen to stories, what others have done or how it happened for others. That will bring you the clarity that no, you're not going crazy. Twin flames are out there, this connection is divine, and you are the chosen one who has to go through this awakening. So if you would like to share your story with me, please email me on twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. You will also find the instructions in the bio. And if you would like me to share and talk about it, then feel free to send me a message. I'll try to make each podcast episode once per week where we discuss about your stories and others who've gone through it. Because there is a similar pattern, and the reason I find it's very helpful is that you will recognize a lot of things to understand if it is really your true twin flame. Although I have a little secret to tell. You know it's your twin flame. You just know. There is no questions. Although your mind tries to say you that this kind of thing doesn't exist. I know, I've been there. I convinced myself for a very long time that this cannot be true. Until everything fell apart and I realized, oh wow. Twin flames, everything what my soul has told me is true. And now I follow my soul. And the reason I'm doing this podcast is because my soul. Anyways, let's dive into the stories I have received. And I've picked 3 stories today. And I think each one of them has a bit of a different vibe and different way of meeting. So, because many of you have asked me, can I meet them online, or can I meet them on a trip, or like, so that's why let's dive into these stories and let's just see what others have gone through. In this first episode, I will not say any names as I think it's quite personal, and so we'll just start with the story number 1. I hope you will like it. So the story number 1. I met my twin flame on a dating app, 21st of March 2023. Since first message we exchanged, I know that I want this man in my life. Doesn't matter which way, friend, partner, etc. In the beginning, I called him my twin brother, but I felt so much more. We are the same age, from 2 different countries, although living in the Netherlands for years. We had so much in common. It took only a few days, and then we met. I was traveling to him with a train, and I do not like traveling with a train. But universe gave me a challenge, because on that day, all the trains in the city were cancelled, and I needed to find a way to get to him. When I first saw him, I started to almost run towards him. We immediately hugged and we were speaking for hours. Both had the same feelings, like peace, like we know each other. This connection was insane. We were staring at each other constantly with a big smile on the face. We kept a distance till the second hug. Finally, I touched him again. This chemistry was so strong, and it's so difficult to write about. We understand each other without words. We spent wonderful time together. It was 2 intense days. After I came back home, we gave each other a lot of space to process what just happened. We have contact almost every day. We met again a week ago, the same strong feelings. Sex is amazing, and I never experienced something like this. I never felt so free around anybody else. Everything is so new, fresh, incredible, insane, and amazing. So that's the story of a first guest from me. Here we can see a lot of patterns. Like people have asked me, can you meet your twin flame online and have this intent connection? I truly believe yes, you can. Because even for me, I did meet my twin flame first physically, like we had a brief 2 minutes connection. But later on, we were talking on the phone. And I could feel this energy inside of me through the phone. So yes, I do think that you can meet nowadays, especially because we have a technology, people on the dating apps and or even on social media, that you start to have a very strong, intense feeling from your soul. And I know here is something I really tell all my clients. Your soul is speaking to you. Speak it out. Don't let your mind to hold you back. Let your soul to talk. Because now what I'm doing, I'm talking from my soul. I say to people, I don't have a proof, but I'm talking from my soul. And later on, it all turns out to be the way it's supposed to be. So your soul knows. And if your soul knows that there is this inner feeling, you must go somewhere, you must do something, then there is a reason behind it. Also, the way she mentioned over here that the universe gave her a challenge in order that all the trains were cancelled and everything. And that's another thing in a twin flame connection. You have a lot of challenges. You try to meet each other, in some reasons you can't, or you try to do something because the universe tries to understand, like tries to give you the hints about yourself and about this connection. All of this will make sense to you a lot later on. It doesn't make sense in the beginning. I tell you, nothing makes sense in the beginning. Then, of course, the way when you first actually meet or you have this connection. Like when I met my twin flame as well, I didn't know this person, and we immediately had like this strong bond. And I think all of you who meet their twin flames, you have this strong bond that you hug them, you hold their hand, even though you don't know that. And tell me, a person, if you meet somebody, let's say you meet somebody at a party where often people meet, or you take time to go closer to that person, but why you don't feel any of that barrier when you are with your twin flame? Because it's you, it's your soul. So in that moment, your mind tries to control you, but your mind is weaker than your soul. So your soul just goes out there. It just does what it's supposed to do. And exactly what is very strange about the twin flame connection is that you're having this strong feeling towards a stranger. Of course, if we talk about when you're 16, 17, maybe you have your first love, it can be something similar to it. But when you had previous loves or you met people, why didn't you feel this way? So this is something you just know that this is not a normal connection. And of course, like when she says that we understand each other without words, and you totally do. Me and my twin didn't speak the same language whatsoever, and not even from the same countries, nothing like this. And we could understand what another person says without using words. And this is divine because you communicate in another level. I meet people all over the world all the time who speak different languages, have different backgrounds. And with some people, I just can't, we don't understand each other whatsoever. So in that connection, you don't need words, and somehow you don't need actions. Everything just happens naturally. The less you control things with your mind, or even to think of an outcome, then just the magic happens. There is no time and space there. And so here she also mentions about that the sex is amazing. Once again, I do not know about this from my own personal experience, and I cannot tell you exactly. There has been many stories that have sent to me, and I'll try to make a story. So if you have it, the more detailed story you can share, feel free to. No names will be mentioned. It's just about giving the understanding of this energy, how the energy is combined during this moment, because your physical bodies come together and the energy is exchanged on that moment. So I've heard it's divine. It's really something happens to your body that you never felt before. So happy to share this in my upcoming episodes. If any of you will be interested and have a time to share this in detail, because I think the more in detail we can go, the better we all can understand what happens. So this was the first story. And now we dive into the second story. And it's from another woman. Apparently this time all the stories are chosen from the women. Men, feel free to send me as well. Your stories are as important as stories of the women. I know women are more expressive, but men, if you would like to awaken more, like you would like to get a balance, try to use the divine feminine energy to express your feelings. So feel free to send it to me. So let's dive into the second story. So I met my twin flame last summer. We live in the same state, but he lives over an hour away from me. The weekend that when we met, we were both in another state, away for a weekend. He was with his friends and I was with mine. I was swiping on my dating app, waiting for my friend to get ready, and I came across with his profile. I felt really drawn to him for some reason. It wasn't like he was the hottest person that I ever been with, but in my eyes he was, if that makes sense. I didn't know what a twin flame was at the time. I just knew that I really wanted to know him. I also didn't really at the time, but I kind of manifested him. When I swiped right on him, we didn't match immediately. I knew there was a chance he didn't see my profile yet. I said a little prayer to God and universe in my head, half joking. But I said, I don't ask for much. If there is one thing that you can do for me, please let me match with this man. LOL. And then my friend was ready to go to the beach. I put my phone away and I just forgot about it. We went to the beach, walked around and went to lunch. I saw that I got some messages and matches on the dating app, but my service was not good in the area, so I was unable to see the matches or open the messages. When we got closer to the hotel, my service was better. I was so excited to see not only that I matched with him, but he also messaged me. We were messaging back and forth, and I have him my phone number and told him to message me if he wants to meet for a drink. He sent a text a few minutes later. That night we hung out with him and his friends. I like hanging out with him and had fun, but he was not the kind of guy I normally go for. He was quiet, emotionally unavailable. We talked about getting together the next day, and we hugged and said goodbye. And I felt some electricity. And I also felt comfortable and safe. We were not able to meet up the next day for legitimate reasons, but I had a feeling that I would see him again. When I got back home, I wanted to working on myself so that I could attract the perfect partner. I also started experimenting with manifesting. I also started experimenting with manifesting. 2 months later, I got an idea to message him and invite him to my apartment. I did, and he agreed. We hung out and got to know each other more. Then it seemed like out of nowhere he got up and started kissing me, and it was the best kissing that I ever had. I'm not a person that really enjoys kissing, but I could kiss him all night. When we were kissing, this song happened to be on in the background. I'll add the link on the bio. I didn't think any of it at the time. I just thought it was a weird coincidence. But now I do not believe in the coincidences. The sex was amazing and like a complete out-of-body experience. I don't know if there is anything that I can compare it with. We saw each other a few times after, but he went silent again. I had my dark night of the soul and then the spiritual awakening. I started seeing all these twin flame articles and crops just pop up on my news feed, and first I just ignored it until I felt like I needed to know more, and everything that I was going through started to make sense. So yes, it's her story is very actually in a way, her own soul already knew that she's about to meet. So when she was manifesting, it was her soul who was manifesting. It was not her mind, but it was her soul, because she felt something very intense and the soul told her, you need to manifest that. This is part of the manifestation as well. You start feeling certain things inside of yourself. It's not that you're, let me bring a very generic example. When people say, I want to get $1 million, and you go with your mind, I want to get $1 million, but your soul is not like vibrating for that. But then let's say you are in a very normal situation and you feel something, like it's not your mind who is thinking, but you feel like, for example, go to the beach. And you go and you follow the beach. Like you just go there. Like it's not that your mind tells you what you have to do, it's your soul who is guiding you there. And then things start to happen. Or your soul says, say to yourself that you are beautiful, or say to yourself so that you deserve much more than this. So it's your soul who is talking. And then you say that with your mind, but it's from your soul. So it's not something you're trying to control. It's more that something comes randomly at you. And for her it was the same. She saw a very random guy who was not her, but it made her that she normally goes for. But something inside of her was asking, you need to put the energy out there if you're willing to meet. Because the universe also tests you if you are willing to go for it and if you're willing to do that. In my case, it was the same, that I was like, I did not understand how on earth I want to continue what I'm doing and why it makes me so happy. So there was a lot of confusion, but it was all my soul. Then what she also said, and the electricity. I think all of us who are in this twin flame connection can feel and know about this electricity we're talking, that intense electricity. You just, when you touch, you feel like you are alive. Everything, all of a sudden, every cell in your body is alive. And it's so confusing for your mind, because your mind tries to block all of this. And you feel very comfortable and safe, like she mentions here, which feels like home. You really feel like, if I bring an example, you really feel like you are in an inner place, in an inner state of calmness, like you're floating, like nothing matters, like the time and space stops there. Everything you had in your life, everything that you think you were, you don't think of any of this. You're just so present. You're in a present moment. And that's so divine. That's what makes it so divine and so confusing for the mind, that how come a stranger you just met makes you feel this way. She also mentions when she says, I do not believe in coincidences, and that's another big thing. Nothing in the world or where you're living happens for no reason. Everything happens for a reason. And also the reason you met your twin flame is not that universe wants to see you how much you can suffer. No, it's here for you to awaken and bring light and love to this world in your physical body, and do as much as you can make this world a better place and complete your mission, because you have a mission on here. I don't believe even for once that we are born here, do nothing and just complain about the life and say everything is bad. I think your soul has traveled like crazily to get in here, to get into this body. And to be honest, if we calculate the odds of you being born on this planet, the odds are very, very little. So don't even take for one day for granted that you are alive, because you get to live, touch, and be in this beautiful world. Is it easy? No. But because of you, the world is a better place. And Twin Flame Connection is here to awaken you even to a higher level. Because remember, there is so much more out there than we think we know. Because our mind knows based on the proof, but our soul has so much knowledge, has so much power. So you have to let this to come to you. So here she also says in the beginning that she didn't know anything about twin flames. And I would say about 90% of the people I worked with or I have done research or everything, most of them are saying they do not know anything about twin flames until it happens to them. And then all of a sudden they start getting the information from everywhere. Like it's like I always say, universe will not leave you alone. It will help you and guide you, but you need to accept the information. Like I said before, I denied for a very long time that this kind of thing happens. I thought it's just something else. I could not believe, because I didn't speak with anybody about it. I felt like if I say something, people think I'm crazy. And just for the matter of fact that me and my twin flame had only like talking conversation. We never had anything physical. I nothing like that. So how come I am obsessed with a person we didn't have nothing like physical? And that's why I was asking from those who had physical relationships that they share the story, because that I think is even harder for you to go over, because your body has been, I would say, given electricity and it's like electrified. And most probably the spiritual awakening is going to be very deep and hard, because spiritual awakening is not like a walk in a park. It's intense, it's painful, and your body's going to go through a lot of hell. So is your mind. So it's something very intense, and twin flames are a trigger for your spiritual awakening. So for those who are going through a pain in their body, going crazy in their heads, feeling lost, they feel like they don't belong somewhere, they are having nightmares, they are constantly want to be alone, or even like, not alone, I wouldn't say it alone, but feeling alone, like feeling really lonely. This is all part of the spiritual awakening. So when she mentions that she went through the dark night of the soul and spiritual awakening, and then she started to see twin flames everywhere, and everything starts to make sense. In life, apparently, a lot of things make sense to you when you look them backwards. Somehow we are blind to see the signs when we are not awakened. So here is also what I would like to say, that for your twin flame runner, why they run is exactly that these signs and these things that's starting to happening in their life drive their mind crazy, because they're like, they try to avoid this feeling, they try to run away from it, but it just keeps on getting to them because they need to be awakened as well. But before that to happen, you as a divine feminine, you need to be awakened, and then you can let them to start the process. In some reasons, it doesn't really happen at the same time. Again, I wouldn't say that it's not possible. I know one of my clients happened the same time, and it was a very different experience than I've heard from others. In the beginning, I thought it's not a twin flame connection, but when we got into this deeper conversation, I realized no, it is, and her story is beyond like powerful. A lot of things happened to her, but this is something we'll talk about when she agrees on. So now we dive into the third story, and that's also why I picked that story today, is because one of the things that you're going to start to notice when you are in a twin flame connection or this journey, that your life starts to take you to the places you're not normally supposed to go or supposed to be, but all of a sudden you are there. And this is something very strange, like it's not like you're something planning. For example, a lot of people like to plan their holidays, they like to know where they're going, they like to know what they're doing, and so their mind plans their life. They don't let the soul to guide them. But sometimes we let go of our mind and we are like, I'm not going to do anything, I don't care, I'll just go with the flow. I'll go with the flow is actually a big part of my spiritual awakening when I met my twin flame, because when he was asking me, where does it gonna take? And I was like, I don't know, I go with the flow. And the whole process was, I started to go with the flow. I started to trust the universe, even though, the dark night of the soul and the ego death were beyond painful, and I thought I'm gonna die. I thought I could never accept this what happening to me. And then now, of course, I know that this is part of the process to become awakened and see the signs, understand the signs, and let the life flow through you and with you, and just trust the life. You have to trust the universe, and you have to trust the life. Anyways, so the third post. I met my twin flame on a spiritual retreat in Bali. The funny fact is that I was not about to go there, but a friend of mine got sick and she asked me to take over her trip. And now when I look back to it, I remember when she first told me that she's going to Bali, I had this huge inner feeling that you must go there. And I also had kept seeing dreams about Bali and how I get there, but somehow something always came up that I couldn't see the end. Where did I go in Bali? What did I do? So there was always this going and going and going, but never the result. And when my friend got sick and she told me everything has been paid and just take over the trip and change the name of the flights and go to Bali. Back then I was not financially very strong to afford a trip and a retreat like that. So in order to not let this opportunity go waste, I said, okay, I'll go. And to be honest, it all happened so quickly that I had no time to think. And I just thought, I go and enjoy some time over there. It was really random decision to join the retreat. But little did I know that my life was about to change forever. On the first day of the retreat, I saw this man across the room, and our eyes locked for I felt like I know him. I could see deep inside of his eyes, and I was very confused. Our energies were so magnetic that I couldn't take my eyes off him. We didn't speak until the end of the day, but when we did, it felt like we had known each other for a lifetime. We spoke about everything from spirituality to our life goals and found out that we had a lot in common. After the retreat, we kept in touch over the emails. During the retreat, he also said that he happened to book this just a few days before because his holidays got extended and he felt that he needs to try something new, and his hotel requested that he could join the retreat. To be honest, both of us were not supposed to be there, and there we were. I had not heard anything about Twin Flames prior to that meeting, so I thought I just found a like-minded person to talk with. But oh, I was wrong here. The first night when I went back to bed, I could not fall asleep, even though we had a very intense day. But it was like I could not control my mind or my action. My body and soul wanted me to do something else, while I was convincing my body that it's time to sleep. It was like my mind tells me sleep, but my body is already out of the door with my soul. The moment I went out of the door, I saw him walking by the house, and I said hi. He said hi, and I was like, why you're not asleep? And he said, oh, I just needed to have a walk. So we both went for a little walk, and during this walk we started to talk about very deep things that I never shared with anybody. And also, in that moment, I thought, I meet someone on a retreat, it's part of the process, I talk it out, and I let go. The retreat was about 10 days long, and we had an amazing time over there. Nothing physical, we never had any kissing or in a way of touching. Yes, we held each other's hand, and it was beyond beautiful. I always wanted it more. But we did not live in the same country, so after 10 days, the retreat was over, we had to fly out. And I remember that one of the guru in the retreat, he came to me and said, you are going to have a bit of a roller coaster when you leave from here. So take a deep breath and do not lose your mind. I did not understand why he said that, but now I do. Right after when I arrived back from the trip, I wanted to stay in touch with him. I wanted to know more about him. And so it was going on about 3-4 months where we were exchanging numbers. And then all of a sudden, he was gone. I texted him, he never replied. I tried to send him an email, he never replied. And it was going on and on and on and on. And it drove me literally crazy. I did not understand why this situation like this stopped. So I reached out to his friend because on his Instagram I knew his best friend. So I thought maybe something happened to him and I need to ask. The friend said he's absolutely fine. He's going to work and having his normal lifestyle. Nothing has changed. And for me, then everything started. I started to have my spiritual awakening, which started from my body. I got really, really sick, and I thought I'm going to die. It was so painful that my whole body was in absolute pain for so long time, and I was visiting so many doctors. They were giving me medicines which were not helping, until I came across with the twin flame information and realized that it's my journey now starting as a soul, and I need to release the old energy from my body. It was the most painful that I ever felt, like the most pain I ever felt in my life. After this, when I went through this period of time of pain and my life started to fall apart, he came back. He texted me by saying, I'm sorry I disappeared like this. There was something that happened to me, but I don't know how to explain it. And on that moment, I knew exactly what he means. We are still in touch today and going day by day, but today I'm more aware that this connection is beyond beautiful and I need to give time and be with myself. Wow, that's a very intense story, and that's a very common story in the fact that you are going through the pain and you understand that how divine is this connection and how you're going to be awakened. There are many things, like she also mentioned that she went on a Bali out of nowhere where she was not supposed to be, but she saw dreams prior to that. And I cannot pressure this enough again, but dreams are so powerful. They tell you so much what's going to happen. You're going to have such a vivid dreams, especially in your spiritual awakening, that are guiding you to the right place and to unite with your soul. So don't think of your dreams as just like because we so far, our scientists or anything like this haven't figured out how to explain the dreams. If you look into Native Americans, like the Indians, they really respect the dreams, and they have a whole ceremony around the dreams, and they truly believe that your soul goes to connecting with another level of energies and the universe and everything, which we can talk about it next time. But dreams are a powerful part of that journey. And as a matter of fact, your divine masculine comes and tells you a lot of things to help you along this process. I had this when I was dreaming of my twin flame. Each time there was something that happens in my life, he was in my dream and he was telling to me. Also, he kept on telling me, this happened because of you. This happened because of you. And this was on a repeat. And I kept on messaging him, I keep on seeing you in my dreams, and you keep on telling to me this happened because of me. Until, of course, I had this whole realization that, yes, this twin flame connection happened because of me. I wanted to become awakened because I did my soul realignment before that. So it happened because of me. And I had to accept the new me, the new reality. It was not because of him that he changed my life. He did, but it happened because of me. Anyways, and like she was also saying that she was not supposed to be there, nor was supposed to be the other part. That's very, very common. It's one of the signs, I would say, that tells you about your twin flame connection. I'll just dive into another short story, which is a bit different. I do think it needs a longer time, but I just dive into this because it's so interesting. It's again about another story of a client of mine, and she was actually the first one I started to tell about the twin flame connection, because she did a soul realignment, and I told her, if you're going to meet your twin flame, your life is going to be a mess. Your life is going to be an upside down. And she was so obsessed about meeting a twin flame. She said, yes, I'd like to meet my twin flame. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't know what's going to happen. But her dreams prior to that were asking her to go to Peru. And she'd never been to Peru before, and she had to go to Peru and do the ayahuasca. And she did that. Right after, she went to Peru, did her ayahuasca, and during that process, her soul told her all the stories, how she's going to meet her twin flame, how long is going to be the separation, and how they're going to meet, and how she's going to have the last lifetime here on Mother Earth. And pretty much when her retreat was over, she met her twin flame in a bus. And she had the same, that she was sitting on a bus. She was not supposed to be on that bus. She was actually supposed to be on a flight. But her flight got cancelled. And she had to take a bus to Lima in order to travel back to Europe. But the first flight, which was a domestic flight, was cancelled. And she had to take a 24-hour bus. And so did her twin flame. And when she was sitting on a bus, she had this inner voice was saying, it's your twin flame there, it's your twin flame there, it's your twin flame. And then when she approached her twin flame, she could feel the energy, and then obviously it was amazing from there on. And when she called me up and said, I really did meet my twin flame and all of that, and I was like, I know the first part is amazing, but then it's not so nice. But I don't want to ruin for everybody, because you need to enjoy. You need to be part of this beautiful, amazing connection part. I know it's going to fall apart, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have experienced something so divine. And then when she returned back to Europe, she her Kundalini awakening started. So she called me up one day and said, looked at me, I'm completely swollen up. So all of her body was swollen up. And then she also had a massive headaches. She couldn't sleep at night. So this is a very, very common part of your twin flame awakening. So this is just a brief one, because it's an actual long story, but this we'll keep it for another time, where we dive into more of a spiritual awakening through twin flames. So thank you for each one of you who shared their story with me. It's been amazing to hear your versions, and knowing that so many of us are meeting the twin flames and what is happening to them. I know it's not an easy journey. I know that very well, and that's why I hope my little podcast or a YouTube video helps you to get this peace of mind that it's all going to be okay eventually. I just need to go through this rebirth and spiritual awakening and ego death and all of that. So it will take a little bit of a time. Again, I would like to say, each one of you, thank you so much for listening until the end, and I hope you find some information from here that calmed you down today and makes you feel better. Also, if you would like to share your story, please feel free to email me twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. And I see a lot of people on YouTube are watching my videos, and it's about 80%, but you do not subscribe in some reasons. But it would help my channel enormously to grow, and also motivate me a little bit more to share more stories. About the next episode, which is coming out on Sunday, we will talk about twin flame awakening, pain and signs, and the ego death. We'll dive into this not so nice part of this process, but many of us are thinking that when you have an awakening, that you're going to feel an inner peace and inner bliss and nothingness, while it's total opposite. In the beginning of your spiritual awakening, and twin flame is part of your spiritual awakening, you are going to feel so much pain, and so that you really feel like you are dying. So I like to dive into this in my next episode. So even those who are listening and have been through it, or currently are going through it, again, feel free to send me a message. We'll discuss about these topics, and I try to give you the guidance as much as I can, and I know. I think the more information we have, the better we can help each other, because twin flame awakening and overall the spiritual awakening is very intense, and your body is going to be in so much in pain, and so is your mind. So I'd like to say now, thank you again for listening to Twin Flame Awakening podcast. If you like this episode and you would like to hear some more, please feel free to subscribe and leave a little like or a comment. It means the world to me, and until then, we'll see you soon.
I worked that later shift at the local bar, but said I'll make it big. Said I quit this job. I recall it still, yeah, just like that. I walked out that door and never looked back, for I would never come back to this time. But now I'm here once again, and things that I forgot. beats for the place where I grew up. Damn, my heart still beats.